What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Friday. It's Mark. I'm back. I saw my last client for the week, so I am tired. Today was a long week, or this week was a long week. Today was a long day. It's only 1:26 where I'm at, but it's just been such a really long week, and I'm glad that we are almost at the end. My work day is not done because I still have to go home, make a bunch of calls, write a bunch of notes. But at least the part of seeing my clients all complete for the week. So from here, I'm just doing calling and clerical work. But you're not here for that. You're here for the title. What really happened between Ayanna and Killer Cam? Now, I said that for me personally, I'm not one who's going to just speak on things until I have information. So I will say I have information from finally being able to connect with Ayanna and ask her directly. I'm not really going to put that information out there because she has told me, not showed me, she has told me about the seriousness of these CBS contracts. So I would not say anything that I'm not supposed to say because of that. So I'm just going to speak as a fan who has seen the show. I saw what I saw in the episode, and I'm also subscribed to Cam and Lee's Patreon because I'm a big fan of both Cam and Leroy. Um, I know a lot of people watch these shows and they're looking for a hero or they're looking for a villain. I don't look for heroes or villains. I just watch the show kind of objectively, and I have people that I like and I have people that I don't particularly like, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't care whether people like Ayanna or not, to be honest. And what I mean by that is when somebody is on a show, there's a fandom, and some people resonate with you and some people don't. The part that I don't like is the serious spin, the spins that people put on somebody. So when they don't like somebody, when that person does not resonate with them for whatever reason, they'll try to add a little extra spice and sauce to anything that's happening to them on the show. So, for an example, this argument between Cam and Ayanna, it's something pretty standard in my opinion. Cam is told by people that Ayanna is trying to get her out and is trying to break up her and Leroy. So the fandom is making a huge deal of Ayanna saying, I swear on my kids that this is not true. They're like, oh my God, she's swearing on her kids and she's lying. First of all, that's been done before on these shows. People have sworn on their mom, dad, kids, their dog. A couple of seasons ago, Josh Martinez swore on his grandfather's soul, his deceased grandfather's soul, that he was not going to vote to put Johnny in the elimination. And he's like, sorry, Grandpa, I hope you understand. Nobody's talking about that anymore because people generally find Josh to be nice and sweet. So because they like Josh, it doesn't matter that he lied on his grandfather's soul. But that's just saying, even if she did that, that wouldn't be the most egregious sin that has ever been done in challenge history. But in this case, what Cam asked her was that people are saying that you want to get myself or Leroy out, one of us, to break us up. And if you actually look at the clip that the challenge showed 2 times, it was Ayanna talking to Cyrus. Now think about this. Cyrus was a replacement for Tony, so Cyrus had not been there yet. Cyrus and Ayanna are friends, so one can assume that Cyrus was like, fill me in. Who's everybody's targets? What's going on in the house? who's working with who, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So she probably gave him a whole rundown. A show is obviously going to clip whatever they want to clip for entertainment. So they clipped the part about her saying a lot of people are saying that they want to break up the Cam and Lee alliance. Can you not see that being true? I very much think that it's possible that a lot of people were like, we want to break up Cam and Lee, but who's going to tell Cam that? Who's going to tell Lee that? Cam is a dominant force when it comes to the social game. Even if she was fresh off of having her son and she wasn't in like the challenge shape that she's used to being in, Cam is intimidating. She is intimidating and a force, and she has always been that way from day one. That's how she got that nickname, Killer Cam. And she has let everybody know, you mess with Lee, you mess with me. So I'm sure there are whispers behind the scenes like, how can we break up this pair? Because they are a power duo. So telling Cyrus that people have talked about breaking them up is not the same thing as saying, I want them out. So now for me to jump to Cam, what Cam said on her Patreon. So Cam said on her Patreon that she just wanted to talk to Ayanna because none of this made sense to her when she was approached with this information. Because she said Ayanna had made an agreement and said she wants to work with both her and Lee, and she would not go against them. So as far as they knew, they had kind of a loose partnership. I don't know if I would call it an alliance, but they had an agreement to look out for each other, as in Ayanna and Leroy and Cam. So Cam says that she was not really necessarily influenced by everybody turning on Ayanna because of Janelle. Lee says Ayanna would have been on the chopping block regardless because a lot of people were giving her the side eye because of that. But I think that it's a combination of things. I think that Ayanna has always had kind of a challenge reputation that has followed her. So then people build off of that reputation. And then if something happens within the house that they don't like, they don't give her the benefit of the doubt. The benefit of the doubt is a serious thing, right? Because you could put somebody else through a lot of these scenarios and they would get the benefit of the doubt, but Ayanna gets no benefit of the doubt. The reason I think that's not fair is because everything else in her challenge background and her road rules background is from 2 decades ago. She was a whole different person. She didn't have kids. She has 4 kids now. Her life right now is totally different than her life was back then. And she has spoken to me before, more than a few times, about how much she values these opportunities, being somebody in her late 40s and going on and showing her kids that their mom can do anything, like their mom is a superhero type thing. And the fact that she lost her mom pretty early. She was in her 20s, I think, when she lost her own mother. So she's not the same person that slept in her uniform last night. I don't see her as that same person that she was back then. But she was against the gun because she was trying to play the game. And today's game is so much different than yesterday's game. There's so much politics involved. And I feel like sometimes some of the older cast who has not played the game in a while, even though she did play on All Stars 2 and she did make it to a final in All Stars 2, I feel like the Safety Palace as well as Tech really helped her on the political side. Whereas on this season, even though she had Rachel there, who's her friend, and I guess she's friends with Veronica now, and also what's the other one? Tina. I guess she's friends with all of them. Even though she had them, she didn't have them in the same sense as like, you're on my team and we're working together. So she was kind of on her own here. So she's making her own moves. So what happened with this Janelle thing? This is my personal feeling on the Janelle thing. Nothing to do with her and nothing to do with Cam. Just me analyzing all the data and giving my own opinion about it. I believe that Brandon and several others were friends with Janelle. So Janelle came into the show with a pre-existing beef with Ayanna. This part is the one part that people are saying that I know is 100% true. It has been confirmed by all parties. There's a pre-existing beef between Janelle and Ayanna. So because of that, Ayanna obviously doesn't want her in the house. Now, the part that I don't believe is that Ayanna spread or started those arguments about race or what was the other thing, politics, and they argued, and then she tortured her and did all this stuff to make her leave. I believe it was exactly what we saw. That Ayanna saw an opportunity to tell people, "Hey, Janelle wants Jasmine," and to spin that against her. And to me, there's nothing wrong with that in the game. That is all within the game. Everything else is hearsay. And she has said online and personally told me that the hearsay was not true. I believe that. But obviously, she didn't like her in the house and wanted her out. So people probably felt away because they were already coming in and talking about Ayanna from jump before she did anything. And Cam said that on her Patreon as well, that people were in her ear from day one. She said she had never interacted with Ayanna in person, and people got in her ear from the beginning saying all this different stuff about Ayanna, trying to influence her and trying to influence anyone who didn't know her. And I'm pretty sure like a Brandon didn't know her either, except for hearsay. But he might have had an active relationship with Janelle. So a lot of people felt a way about Janelle leaving because of Ayanna. So now we're putting things together and piling them up. So they're already thinking, okay, she's this bad person, toxic person, or whatever they had to say about her. And then this next thing comes up where Brandon is like, oh, I overheard her saying that she wants to get out Cam and Leroy. But the clip does not show her saying that she wants to get them out. She says, that's what people have been talking about. She didn't say that's what I want. She didn't say that's my plan or that's what I'm trying to do. But because she's already behind the gun, she already has this reputation that's been hard to shed. That's what people are going with. And that's what happened with that. So Cam, understandably so, like I respect Cam for doing this, honestly, for actually going up to Ayanna and being like, I want to address this with you personally, because everyone else was playing a big game of telephone. So what Cam said, and I fully understand what Cam is saying here. She said, when I went to ask Ayanna that question of did she say this or did she not, she said, I considered that as a yes or no question. And she said that if Ayanna had said, no, I did not say that, and given her some assurances that, yeah, we're still working together, I don't have a problem with you, and I'm not gunning for you and Lee, then she would not have orchestrated setting her up with going against Rachel. But it was because she made a big scene after that and was like, who, Cam? Tell me the people who said this to you, Cam. And then, made that scene in the house. Both Cam and Lee said that made her look like a liar. And objectively speaking, I might feel the same way in their position, because if I walk up to somebody and ask them, hey, were you saying this about me? And instead of being like, no, of course not, I would never say that about you. And if they were like, why would you ask me that? And make some kind of scene about it, I would say, yeah, they're probably guilty. So truthfully, like, I understand Ayanna's stance and I understand their stance, particularly Cam's stance. On the Ayanna end of things, I think that she was feeling the crunch of her position in the house already, where a lot of people were saying a lot of things about her at that point in time. A lot of people were like, Ayanna is this, Ayanna is that. So Cam was one of the few people that wasn't particularly against her, I think. Despite what those rumor pages are saying, and despite the fact that they were annoyed by her in the house, like they were annoyed living with her in the house, I don't think Leroy or Cam had any kind of a beef with her, and they have not even expressed that on either of their three. I think they did two or three, maybe it was two. There are two recaps on Patreon. They didn't express having any kind of beef with Ayanna, and they actually gave her nice words and wished her well and everything. Ayanna messed up her game from the beginning. So where I think that, yeah, so what I'm saying is, in this particular instance, she did not make the right move by bringing this whole house already feeling conversation with just Cam and giving her those reassurances. But Ayanna is an emotional person. I mean, different people handle things differently, and extent what it's like being against the gun where you had a certain intent when you said something, and then a large group of people are trying to change your intent. So Cam approaching her could have just been the straw that broke the camel's back. So what I'm saying is, I don't think Ayanna's a villain, but I also don't think that there was anything wrong with Cam deciding to throw her in. I think this is regular game stuff, but it's being blown up because it's Ayanna. And in a sense, I'm kind of glad that she's not there anymore. Not because I'm glad that she's out and that she got out so early, but just because the fandom is really torturing her over things that shouldn't really be this extended beyond the game. Like, the things that people are saying are flat out, a lot of them are flat out lies and bullying, cyberbullying, in my opinion. Like, I don't like this person, so let me try to wipe them off of the wipe their reputation and keep them from ever being able to get one of these opportunities again, just because of my personal feelings towards that. I don't like that. Hey, Edward. I may. I wonder what the beef was. There was no beef. I mean, unless there's something that they're hiding, I have not heard anything that suggests that there's beef. It was not actually a beef. It was just that Brandon and whoever else approached Cam and said, Ayanna is trying to get you out. I overheard Ayanna say that she's trying to get you out. Ayanna did not say that she's trying to get her out. Ayanna spoke to Cyrus, who again had just arrived at the house at that point, and I can assume didn't know anything about who was going for who, and was having a conversation with Ayanna about it during the daily. Brandon heard pieces of that, and he already felt a way about Ayanna. I don't think that Brandon was trying to spread misinformation. I just think that Brandon already didn't like Ayanna because of what he felt about what happened with Janelle. And so he processed that information in a different way than what actually happened. That's what I think. YouTube actually took one of my videos down because I put Killer Cam in the title. So I'm not messing with YouTube with that anymore. They took the video down. Actually, they put a copyright strike. They put not a copyright strike, but they put a strike on my channel. And I had to appeal it for me to be able to post again. So I will never again put that word killer in my title because I know what YouTube can do with it. Fortunately, YouTube approved my appeal and said it was done in error, but it is what it is. So that's it. I don't think that they had a outside of show problem. I think it was just Cam. You know how Cam is in this game. Cam is going to protect herself and her man at all costs. So when she works with you hardcore. If you get on her bad side, you're on her bad side. So she was okay with Ayanna up until that point. I mean, she said in the episode 2 or 1, a love annoy relationship with her. I think that's what it was. She found her annoying, but she also loved her at the same time for certain other reasons. But then she was told that Ayanna's working against her. She wanted to confront her and clear the air. And Ayanna made a big scene, which she didn't like, and made her feel like Ayanna was guilty, and that was the reason why she made the big scene. And as a result, she was like, Ayanna's got to go. And that's that. It's pretty simple, in my opinion. The things that I've seen wild, when I think it's just a plain and simple thing. I think a lot of people found Ayanna hard to live with in the house and work with, but I don't think that that's enough of a basis to really just assassinate somebody's character. Say all these really terrible things that have been said. Surprised at Rachel's decision taking the star from Tina. Yeah, that was an interesting one. I thought she would take it from somebody else, but some people are saying that was strategic because they think that Veronica would have a harder time getting a star than Tina would. And Tina would have a bigger target on her back than Veronica. And that might be true because out of the two of them, I think that Tina is definitely the stronger competitor than Veronica, for sure. But I still don't really know why you wouldn't let Tina keep her star and then give Veronica a star and have all three of y'all have stars. But I guess having a star puts a target on your back. What's interesting, though, is that you can get stars from winning the daily, and it's not just from winning the elimination anymore. So, I don't know. There's a lot. The season is pretty interesting. I have to just say, like I said, I was rooting for Ayanna, but at the same time, I'm glad that now we can talk about the show because people were just making this big thing that is all about her. Everything is about big, bad, terrible, evil Ayanna. When one, I don't even think that's true, and two, it's just like, come on, are we watching this for entertainment or what? There's a lot of toxicity that I have seen from the fandom for the show. I'm looking forward to what's happening upcoming. I know there's going to be some stuff with Laurel, Cara Maria, Nicole, like that showmance brewing back up. Yeah, Ayanna is the one suffering from cancer. And man, I have to say, it was very hard to hear from her the things that that a lot of the fans are sending her in the DMs. Like, things things that are way, 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 way beyond watching somebody on a TV show. And I found those things to be very just disgusting. That, you know, if I ever see that kind of stuff on my channel, those kind of people could not comment on my channel. Even though we don't have a block feature on here, they won't have a voice on my channel if they're going to say nasty things like that. But yeah, I'm rooting for Cara Maria. That's who I wanted to win from the beginning. I hope she did well. I love Cam and Lee. Who else? I mean, I like a lot of the All-Stars. Keefla, I didn't really remember him too well, but he's funny. He's funny and he's good. He just beat Cyrus in what they have as maybe the adult version of the Hall Brawl. Yeah, so there's a lot of things that are going to happen upcoming. I'm excited about it. All-Stars has been good so far. And now we can move on from this topic. Yeah, people do have the audacity to slander her while she's suffering. And that's just messed up. Literally, the words that she gave me were, she was like, Mark, I'm fighting for my life. And people are saying things to me that are just, I don't need to hear those things at a time when I'm trying to recover and be there for my kids. And I felt so bad about that. Like, you could think whatever you think about somebody on the show. I'll tell you, I like this person on the show. I don't like this person on the show. I'm not going to wish death on somebody based on what they do on the show. I'm not going to talk about them not being a role model to their kids based on show stuff. You know, like, I consider this all show and game stuff. Yeah, I know there's some personal elements. I know there's some personal elements to it, but it's not that serious. It's not that serious. All right, y'all. I hope everyone has a great weekend, and we'll talk soon.